Hi everybody. Today I want to take you through the process of making a cheesy vegetable soup. I am going to kind of just wing it and make it up as I go, but there are a lot of great recipes online and I'll just talk you through some of the steps. I do want to show you how to make a cheese sauce, so that's what the milk and the butter and the flour and the cheese is for. I'm going to make a cheese sauce similar to what you would maybe make for macaroni and cheese and just talk you through that process. I'm going to thin it out eventually by mixing it in a soup with some broth, and so that will make it more soup-like and less macaroni and cheese-like, but the process is still the same, so I want to walk you through how to make that, because I don't know if I'm going to do a macaroni and cheese video, but that process is the same. So yeah, I'm going to use some celery and carrots. I have a pepper that I pulled out of the fridge, but now that I think about it, I might save that. I don't know if I want to put that in my soup. And then some potatoes and some onions. I have a piece of onion here, and I have another little one there. Broccoli. I just have frozen broccoli from Costco that I'm going to finish up that bag that's open and then add some of this. I thought I could use up some of that corn. And like I said, this is going to make the sauce. And then this is what's going to thin it out and make it soup-like. I'm just going to use the bone broth today because I have it here. Typically, what I would normally use is one of these bases. These are a powder. I should have powder like that. And then you would use 2 teaspoons of that powder with 1 cup of water equals a cup of broth. So that's something I would have used or we use all the time at school that I won't be using tonight, but something you could use if you had it at home. You could also use like the bouillon cubes. They come like, they're like little cubes. You could use those as well. So there's a lot of options for that. Anyways, so those are my ingredients, and I'll get them all prepped, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. Hi. Okay, so I started melting some butter in this pan, and the first thing I'm going to do is put my vegetables in, my carrots, my onions, and my celery. Carrots, onion, and celery are your aromatic vegetables. They're going to create a great smell, but also a really great flavor. When you make chicken noodle soup, this is your first step. You're always using these 3 vegetables together to help create the base flavor in the soup, and so that's what I'm doing here today as well. So they're fantastic vegetables together, and I'm just going to start to cook them down a little bit with some butter until I can smell them. I'm also going to season with a little bit of salt. When you're making a soup that you're going to add broth to, I always am a little bit conservative with the salt because you're going to get more salt flavor from the broth later, and so you can always add more at the end. I just don't want to over salt the soup, but you definitely need some to help the vegetables. So we're going to let them saute until they start to smell like the aromatic vegetables that they are, and we're going to soften them a little bit. And then my next step is going to be to add the potatoes, because those are going to take the longest to cook. The broccoli and the corn are both frozen, and so they're already pretty soft once they thaw, so they won't need a lot of time in the pan. But I just want to get these 3 things going first, and then I'll grab those potatoes and put them in, and we'll let those go. Okay, so I just added the potatoes and I let them hang out a little bit longer. I don't know if I told you this, but I'm on about medium heat, and it's cooking pretty quickly. I think maybe you noticed when I put the potatoes in that I left the peel on. I really like the peel on potatoes. The peel on the potatoes has calcium and vitamin C, so that's good stuff. And now my next step is just to cover these in the broth that I have. So that they kind of start to soften up more. So I'm just gonna, I don't have a measurement for this because it really depends on how many vegetables you have and how much soup you're making. Like I said, I'm kind of winging it. Sometimes when I make soup, I add too many vegetables, and then I end up making like this gigantic pot of soup, and I eat it for 19 days in a row. Just kidding, not really, but, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm trying to make a small amount of soup here. So I put the broth in, and that's just gonna come up to a boil, and I'll probably turn it down a little bit to a simmer, so that I'm just gonna cook it till the potatoes soften. So while that's happening, I'm going to adjust the camera, and we'll let that simmer, and I will show you how to make the cheese sauce.